Being yourself is terrible advice for getting better at talking to people because it deludes you into feeling comfortable about where you currently are at right now. It's a cope that makes you play mental gymnastics in your own mind to convince you that this is the one secret that you need to get better at talking to people. And that when you're yourself, when you just be yourself, your life will change for the better. It'll solve all your conversation related problems. And this is the one secret ingredient you've been looking for this entire time. And I'm speaking from experience because I've fallen into this trap before, where throughout junior high and high school, I thought if I was just myself, if I just acted like who I was, I would get everything I ever wanted in terms of talking to people. But in reality, I had no life, no friends, no hobbies. Just being myself didn't solve any of those fundamental problems in my life, where it put me in this loop of thinking that, okay, I heard this advice, being yourself, that sounds good. The more I implement that, my life's gonna go great. So when I talked to people, I acted like myself. But the third point was it didn't work. It did not improve my conversation, but rather it focused on me staying in the same spot that got me in the position in the first place. And so when that event inevitably didn't work, I went back to the first point and thought, yo, I just gotta keep trying. Obviously, it didn't work this time, but if I keep trying, if I keep putting the effort, one time it's gotta stick. One time, everything's gonna click and my life will change for the better. This never ended up happening, but the reason I kept doing it was because it was comfortable, because it had this idea, this attractive idea of thinking that this is the one thing that's gonna work and fix my problems for the better. I don't need to learn anything, I don't need to go through any sort of suffering or pain to learn new things about getting better at talking to people. Rather, if I just focus on this one single thing, that is the solution to all my problems. And even when it didn't work, even when I was faced with the evidence that no matter how many times I did it, it wasn't going to change anything for the better, I kept doing it because it was comfortable to rely on that belief. It was comfortable to rely on this one nugget of advice that told me that it could change my life for the better. I didn't want to face the pain of becoming better at talking to people. I just wanted to focus on that one thing that seemed like a shortcut. And if I kept following this advice, I would have made no progress because it's not focusing on your weaknesses or acceptance or the fact that you are bad at talking to people. It's making you convinced that you are better than you currently are and that you don't need anything else except yourself to get better at talking to people. But there are multiple versions of yourself, and I want to talk about this because I would change the advice to being yourself to being your best self, right? Focus on facing your fears, focus on doing the difficult things that you may not necessarily want to do, but will contribute towards you becoming a better person, a better conversationalist, somebody who is more confident, articulate, charismatic. Those things do not come easily because they have to be earned. And asking yourself, what do I need to do to become my best self, is a much better question than saying, I should just be myself and my life will change for the better. Because think about it. There are multiple versions of yourself, even in this present moment, where you could be a winner, a loser, good at talking to people, poor at talking to people, confident, insecure. These are just a few things that I'm throwing out, but it comes down to the choices that you are willing to make within your life. Everybody knows this. It's basic sort of stuff. Whether you go to bed on time and are rested, that's one version of yourself compared to the other version that never sleeps on time, stays up until 5 a.m. every single day, is addicted to porn, video games, junk food, compared to the person who goes to the gym, eats healthy. You can tell these choices will lead to drastically different outcomes. And that's the same thing with the advice of being yourself and being your best self. It's choosing who do you want to be and making the choices to move in that direction. And realistically, being yourself is the thing that's gotten you in the position you currently are at. Where if you're insecure about talking to people, if you don't feel comfortable about initiating a conversation or keeping it going, if you just act like yourself, is anything going to change? Are you going to be making any choices that will influence the outcome of your actions? Because realistically, you're not. If you just be yourself, you're going to do the same things over and over and over again. Nothing's going to change. It's just faulty advice compared to if you asked yourself, are you your best self right now? If I asked myself that a few years ago when I first got this advice, I would have to admit I wasn't. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't taking care of my health. I wasn't going up and speaking to people with the intention of getting better at talking to them. I was going up to them with the intention of validating my own ego, validating my own idea that I tried, I couldn't do it, so I must not be good at talking to people. It was all about just feeling comfortable in the present moment and eliminating that through this mindset of being my best self made me realize that it shifted the focus on actually challenging myself, on actually focusing on the areas of my life where I was kind of slacking, where in terms of conversations, it would simply be awkward. Simply focus on the fact that I sucked at talking to people, accepting that, and then going through the pain to actually get better at talking to people. Whether that took a month, 2 months, 3 months, being willing to go through that pain period and come out on the other side as a more confident, grounded individual. And the big difference between these two mindsets that makes the being yourself mindset so alluring is the idea that it has all of the benefits, but none of the downside. That if you just be yourself, if you don't change anything about what you're currently doing, whether you're going to the gym, taking care of your health, like having a good appearance, or even speaking to people, it doesn't matter if you do any of that. As long as you are yourself, things will get better. It's a shortcut. It seems simple. It seems like that one thing you need to do to get better at talking to people. And there's no downside to doing it because you're already yourself. You're already acting like yourself, so you don't need to change anything. It's focused on easy. It's focused on the path of least resistance. And don't fall for that mistake. Like, even in my own life, I wish I had not listened to this advice starting out because it didn't change anything. It just kept me stuck in a poor position for a longer period of time. Rather, if I asked myself, what would my best self do? I'd have to face the uncomfortable truth that I would have to face my fears, even though I didn't want to, even though it's a fear and it's kind of fucking scary. That is the thing that would give me actual results towards becoming a confident, charismatic, articulate sort of guy. But that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, check out the other videos on my channel, specifically about how to get better at talking to people. Other than that, thank you for watching. Have a good one.